And that's why you could always use a little more gain. What's going on, everybody? This is the Coverbandconfidential podcast, the podcast for cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more and suck less. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I am Dan Ray.
That feels like a bit of an overcorrection, but you guys, sometimes there's technical issues. What do you want from us?
Yeah.
I
Anyway.
thought you froze there for a second.
No. I mean, I did. It was 5 degrees here a couple of days ago.
That's true. It was like almost 60 here.
What, today?
Like there was like black ice in the parking lot of where we dropped the dogs off for like doggy daycare. By the time I came back, it was just like a pile of sand.
Okay, that's good.
I'm not necessarily mad at it. It's gonna be like 65 this time next week.
We're gonna get more snow tomorrow.
Oh well, we're getting rain down here, so that makes sense that you're a bit further up.
Yeah.
Incoming snowmageddon aside, how's it going?
Good. Just cranking along. Not a lot of news.
Right on. We are chasing down a couple of leads. I had a karaoke inquiry come in over the time that I was in NAMM, so I have Joey running point on that. I will say I won't say the whole thing, but I did get a text from our old front of house guy, Ben, because he was hanging out with our bass player and drummer. He just finished, a whole run with Warren Zeters, and he's like, "What do you guys have going on? Like, I'm bored for the next 3 months." And I was like, "Well, I don't know."
Nice.
He's like, "Well, I can do this and I can do that, and just have me do it." And I was like, "Well, you need to understand that up until like 20 seconds ago, you were an option. So I don't have a lot of information to give you." It turns out they had a couple of Chardonnays and were, just reveling and
loose. They were enjoying the looseness of it all.
I haven't seen Ben in a little bit, so it would be good to see him while he's home. But yeah, it's nice to know that actually it's interesting today. Like over the last 24 hours, I've had conversations with multiple like ex-members of my group. So it's always cool that like people come and go and everybody's on good terms. Like, we all should be so lucky.
Yeah.
So I guess that's one thing I'm doing right.
Yeah.
Everything else, not so much. On a totally unrelated note, today was my first day back at work.
How was that?
It was fine. They actually scheduled a meeting, the topic of which was remembering what Adam looks like. It was literally just like a 15-minute huddle with all of the guys on my team. It's like, here's what you missed on Glee. It's filling me in on all the stuff that I wasn't, privy to. And I've got a bunch of meetings, and like it's literally just you jump back in with 2 feet, and I've got a lot of stuff to make, so I'm going to start making it tomorrow and all that good stuff. So right back into it. I wrapped up a couple of projects, including putting a new range hood in our kitchen.
Yeah, you sent pictures of that.
Yeah, you don't consider that if you're trying to mount something underneath something else, that you end up spending most of your day lying on the granite countertops of your kitchen. So needless to say, my spine feels weird.
Yeah.
And I want to shout out Travis Barker of Blink-182. He's got a company called Barker Wellness, and they have a CBD like muscle relief cream that also has like aloe and menthol in it. And it really hit the spot. So thanks, Travis Barker. I'm grateful because I really could. Your stuff works.
It's good.
Yeah. All right. Let's go through a couple of housekeeping things. Do we want to talk about the Grammys? There's not a whole lot to talk about.
Watch them. I don't know. I have nothing to say.
I will say this. A couple of really big wins that I was really stoked for, specifically Duran Bernard, who I feel like we've talked about before. He won his first Grammy, and his acceptance speech was unbelievable. And he's just one of those guys it's like a spoil of riches talent-wise, because he's an amazing singer and an amazing songwriter and an amazing entertainer, and he's super funny. And anytime I see him on anything, I stop and I watch. And so that was really cool. Lots of guitar work, more than I was expecting. They opened up with Bruno Mars and our friend Rosé doing Apatia, which is a song that's come up a couple of times in recent episodes, and like rocked it. Like Bruno Mars can play his ass off.
Yes.
It's again, spoil of riches. It's like you only focus on certain things. You're like, and you totally forget like, oh yeah, this guy can rip. Cause he pulled a really like tasteful, technically solo in that. And it was great.
That's great.
There were 2 guitar solos in like the first like 5 minutes. I think my favorite part was probably they did like the In Memoriam section. Yeah. They did one with Reba McEntire, who had never performed at the Grammys before, which could have fooled me. It's such an odd statistic.
Yeah.
Like what? Huh? How? But that was good. And then they had a supergroup do a tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. So they had Duff McKagan / Chad Smith and Post Malone. That's who it is, singing War Pigs, and it was good. I know that Post Malone means well. I'm just not wild about his voice.
Yeah,
he kind of does that kind of like goat style vibrato, the way that Stevie Nicks kind of does.
Mm.
I'm treading onto thin ice as I say that. But anyway, it was technically great. But the thing that happened after that, they had Lauryn Hill and like everybody else do a tribute to D'Angelo. That was just unreal.
It's cool.
And it was the first time I had ever seen a Mineric guitar on a big stage like that. You know, those crazy looking ones that look like they're like flames coming off of them, or like they are flames.
Yeah.
I was like, who plays these? And then sure enough, I think it was Raphael Sadiq was playing one. And I mean, it was cool. It was the Diablo shape, and it looked neat. It was just like, huh. And then the other thing that's currently doing numbers on socials is Justin Bieber came out in his underwear, which, I mean, whatever. And he did like a live looping thing for his song Yukon, and he was playing this like left-handed purple super strat, and it wasn't kind of the typical one. Everyone's like, what is that? And so, of course, me being insufferable, I had to look it up and figure it out. He's playing either a mid-'80s or a reissue RGX. I'm sorry, a Yamaha RGX. And like you can get one on Reverb for like $400. So yeah, Justin Bieber may have done a bunch of randos on Reverb a solid by playing that. Maybe they could bump their sell price up a couple bills. But that's pretty much it. Weird guitars aside, the Grammys are fine. It's cool to see like big budget production. The Sabrina Carpenter did basically the opener, and it was like the set pieces were ridiculous. Like they brought in like an airplane, like literally like the nose cone of a 747. It was an airport themed deal, and it was unbelievable. And then she got snubbed. She was up for like multiple awards and didn't win any. But you know who did win a Grammy? K-pop Demon Hunters.
Not surprised.
I think they were up for 6. They won it, at least one of them. I think it was the one for visual media, original music for visual media, something like that. One of the rare times that like something hits the cultural zeitgeist in a wider swath. And it's, super interesting that it is, it's K-pop.
Yeah. And really well done.
Yeah. Unbelievably well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But listen, nobody's here to hear us talk about K-pop Demon Hunters.
I'm sure not.
We'll keep it moving. One last thing. The NAMM House giveaway is still active. I actually went and looked up the official rules. You have until February 28th to enter that. So we'll put the link in the show notes if you want to put your name in to win a Fender Player 2 Jaguar from Sweetwater. Go check that out. Put your email in and enter now. Okay, main topic time. This one, I was really stoked to get this email because this is a thing that I feel like is clear to the people who are regular consumers of the show, but for new folks, you may not kind of realize this, but I always feel like the stuff that we've been talking about has been universal between the cover band world and original music.
Very much so, yeah.
because in the grand scheme of things, you're doing the same thing. It's just the product that you're selling is slightly different.
Yeah, I mean, there are real differences, but I think the band leadership stuff we've been talking about recently, and a lot of that applies across all kinds of bands.
So this one came in over the weekend, and I sent it to Dan, and we talked about it, and well, you'll see the whole journey as we go through this. So the email opens up, "Hello, Coverband Confidential. My name is Luke, and I run a heavy metal project called Elk Hunter. We have built up close to 1,500 monthly listeners on Spotify without playing a single live show yet, which tells me the music and the approach are working. Where we are really struggling right now is finding the right guitarist for the project. The songs are already written, recorded, and released. We rehearse to the recordings and expect anyone involved to show up prepared, not learn parts at practice. That expectation has been clearly communicated, but we keep running into players who do not practice, show up unprepared, or treat the band like a casual hang instead of something serious. This seems well-tread."
Yeah, very much.
"I am not looking for someone to find themselves creatively in this project. I'm looking for a team player who understands what they are walking into, commits to their role, and helps elevate the live performance. I will continue writing and playing guitar for Elk Hunter, but ideally, I want a strong guitarist who can handle the lead parts live so I can focus fully on vocals and performance. I'm reaching out because your content around band leadership, expectations, and treating music projects seriously really resonates with me. This situation feels like something a lot of bands deal with but do not always talk about honestly. The time and energy wasted trying to carry uncommitted musicians can slow everything down even when the project itself has momentum. I really appreciate any insight you have shared or could share about screening musicians before problems show up, setting expectations that actually stick, and managing a growing project when not everyone involved is matching the level of commitment. Thanks for all that you do." So, I mean, this is prime.
Classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic. Yeah. So we put our heads together and came up with some questions. Here's what we responded to him with and asked. It's 4 things. 1, what kind of conversations are you having to level set expectations at onboarding? And my hunch was that they weren't being had.
Yeah.
What structure in regards to band dynamics are you trying to create? In other words, like, what's the leadership structure, I think is what you were saying.
Solo project with hired players, an egalitarian creative project, something in the middle. Like, what are we talking about?
Yep. And then when auditioning, were you asking players to learn the material as part of the audition process? And if not, how are they sourced and what was the context of the ad or the inquiry?
Yeah. So basically, our thought process here was, if we're going to spend an episode like talking about this, let's get as much information as possible so that we're not necessarily retreading stuff that they've already tried before. So we ended up getting 2 more emails after that. So this was Luke's response. "Thanks for getting back to me. Really appreciate you taking the time. On onboarding and leveling expectations, I'm very upfront from the start. I explain that Elk Hunter is an originals project. The songs are already written, recorded, and released, and that rehearsal is not for learning parts. I make it clear that practice happens on your own time to the recordings, and rehearsal is strictly for tightening and locking things in. To support that, we provide guitar tabs, instrumental recordings, and even sheet music, which is okay. Although I honestly have not come across a guitarist yet who needs the sheet music.
Or who can read sheet music, yeah.
Right. The resources are there and the expectations are clearly stated both in conversation and in writing, which of course was the thing that we were like, We were suspicious that they weren't. Yeah. In terms of structure, Elk Hunter is my project creatively. I write the music and will continue to write and record guitar for the band. That said, I am not treating this as a hired gun situation either. The goal is a stable live lineup with team players who understand their role and are committed to executing it well. Ideally, I want a strong guitarist who can handle lead parts live so I can focus fully on vocals, but the creative direction and songwriting are already established. I would describe this structure as somewhere in the middle with clear leadership and clearly defined lanes. For auditioning, yes, I do ask players to learn the material as part of the process. I send recordings and tabs in advance and explain exactly what I expect them to be able to play when we get together. Where things keep breaking down is that players will say they understand this and then show up having not practiced or only partially learned the material. In a few cases, players have prioritized social plans or other distractions over preparing, which become obvious immediately in rehearsal. The ads and inquiries clearly state that this is not a casual project or a jam situation and that preparation is required. What has been most frustrating is that this issue is rarely skill-related. It is almost always reliability, preparation, and mindset. We have traction, a growing audience, and a clear plan, but we keep running into musicians who like the idea of an opportunity more than the work required to be a part of it. And then there was a follow-up right after that. It said, one additional bit of context I realized might be helpful. Elk Hunter originally started as a solo project in my home studio about 5 years ago. I wrote and recorded everything myself during that time, and only more recently began transitioning it towards a live band once the releases started gaining traction. Because of that, the systems, arrangements, and expectations were built around a studio-first, prepared mindset long before rehearsals were ever a part of the picture. At this point, we have around 30 songs written. My drummer has been dedicated to the project and has known me since high school, and the bass player works at the music store with the drummer. So the three of us are tight, reliable, and fully aligned on the vision and work ethic of the project. The core is solid and focused, which is why finding the right guitarist feels especially important rather than something to rush or compromise on. I think that history and structure may be part of why I'm running into friction when bringing new players in. I want to share that background. So, I mean, I feel like we've got a pretty solid picture of what is going on. And when we were kind of prepping for the show, I was like, I feel like we're going to stumble on to an important thing as we go through this. We're going to like solve part of the issue about 2/3 of the way in.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think I found one thing that I picked up on a second read just now that might be a part of the issue. So based on the language and the way that it's written, it sounds like they are bringing people in to the rehearsal space before screening them. There's no pre-screen. There is an inquiry of interest from them. The band responds with the expectations, and then they're coming in to a rehearsal. And I feel like there is an additional layer that could be in place that may help speed the process along.
Yeah, when I'm vetting someone new for a position, I don't usually have them meet the whole band until I've met them first and usually made some noise with them. And I screen, I don't know, 75% before they get into a room with the rest of the band, just because I don't want to waste the rest of the band's time on somebody untested.
Yeah.
So that's certainly something that you might want to add. Although, listen, he points out it's not a skills issue. People show up with chops, but you need to bring some expectation that the preparation is there even in that first meeting.
Well, and I think by making them record themselves playing one of the things you want them to play, it shows that they actually took the time to learn the material and that they take it seriously enough.
Yeah, so you'd ask them send me a video of you playing this song.
Yes.
Of ours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here are all the things, here's all the resources. Because I guarantee you that initial hurdle weeds out 80%.
Sure.
Because they're just like, I'm not going to do that.
Super interested and eager and then just don't do it? Yeah, they just told you.
Yeah, so I think that is something that could very easily streamline the project. But there's a few things at play here.
Yes.
That we kind of need to talk through.
Yeah, one that jumped out at me, this is not a for hire, what did he say? Hired gun. This is not a hired gun situation. I want you to consider maybe it ought to be. Yeah. Because otherwise...
Or maybe it kind of is, and we'll get into that.
Kind of is, and we haven't dealt with the truth of that. Because here's the pitch. You'll have no creative input.
Yep.
You are going to play my parts, and you must play them precisely because they're my parts, and I care about them a lot, and they're original, and they're part of who I am, and you must play them perfectly. Mm-hmm. We're an original band playing our first gigs with, which means there's no pay.
Yep.
I mean, 1,500 Spotify listens is neat, but what does that turn into when people in a room? Nothing. That's nothing.
Right.
So this is a hard gig without a lot of creative input or expression for no money. And you should not be surprised that what you're picking up are people who, are not going to commit high energy to that.
Yeah.
The alternative to that is to set a price for it that's going to come out of your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll enjoy paying that because it frees you up to be the singer you want to be.
Right.
But the fundamentals of your offer here, your invitation to these people, I will tell you, just not attractive, and you're not going to get the kind of talent you think you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I kind of picked up as we were going through this is that the drummer is committed.
Yes. Bassist too. Right.
But the drummer just happens to be good friends from high school. So you have a shared history that, it just happens that you guys are both really, talented and want to work together. It also is a bit in the instrumentation. Drummers need other people to do what they do. And the same with bass players.
That's right.
But the bass player's in because the drummer's in, because they work together and they probably get along. So that's kind of like a unicorn scenario.
Yeah.
Where you just purely by luck or chance have 3/4 of a project that has this shared vision and focus, and they're totally willing to just support your dream and back you up because of, there's a calculation there.
Yes.
But that calculation really kind of depends on whether you want to include them in the creative process or not. Or if it's just a way for them to, like a stepping stone into bigger things outside of this project. So there's some gambling, some wagering going on that this leads to something bigger. But it is really difficult to find a person who has no attachment to you whatsoever.
Yep.
And after reading the description of what the gig is going to look like, it's a tough sell. I'd have a hard time with it.
You know what got me in this? The thing that got me was sheet music.
Yeah.
Like that tells me our boy Luke here is going to be really precious about how this gets performed.
Sure. And why wouldn't he?
Sure. It's his baby. It's his creative project, 100%. But do I want to sign on to that kind of, scrutiny of my work without any kind of input of my own for, at the end of the day, I'm going to make $12? Like,
yeah,
no, I'm not.
Yeah. What is the upside?
I don't see one.
That's the real challenge here.
Listen, there's an upside for somebody who thinks the band is about a cool social hang and make new friends. That's the upside. But if that's not there, like, I'm surprised they're not at the door before you throw them out.
Right. Well, but that's the thing is that they're finding people that are looking for casual projects or aren't taking it seriously. And it's because there's nothing really there for them outside of that.
Yeah.
So unless you can make this gig feel like poker night, there's very little to offer this prospective person.
It's interesting that, Luke's frustration is really clear in this. What's not clear is any kind of getting in the shoes of the people who are failing him so badly.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, because that was the other thing that we were like, well, if all these things are being done in the way that they're described, but it's still not working.
Right. No, this is the thing. Like Luke came back and satisfied all of our suspicion about what he wasn't doing. No, he's doing all of it. He's doing all of it. He's doing all of it perfectly, but he keeps having this problem, which, definition of insanity right there.
Right.
And, if things don't work, change them.
Yeah. And I just want to be clear, like this is not a pile on for Luke. It took a lot for him to reach out and ask for a genuine response,
Yeah. And I think it's instructive of a whole lot of people in our listenership, I think what we are seeing between the lines of what Luke's written here is a blind spot.
Yeah. And we all have them.
Sure.
And the thing that you really have to have in a leadership scenario is people who can tell you those things honestly.
Yeah. And if what you're lacking is empathy, right? Understanding what the pitch is to the people you're talking to and why it's not attracting the people you're after, like it's a good thing to have shown you. And, Luke, that's our mission here in this episode, is to show you that and other people who might be having similar issues.
The main thing I would say is try to figure out how there can be an upside to this gig.
Yeah.
So if it's not friendship, then it's got to be something else. So well paid, cool, like, opportunity or whatever, big crowd. Did I already good pay? Fun
You
hang.
did say good pay. Fun hang.
Fun hang.
Well, and music that's worth doing, which, if it's I think there's some challenge to that here.
Yeah. And that's not, again, not a critique on the quality of the materials. Just, this is a very specific thing. Luke has a vision, and he's trying to find people to go along with him on that journey. So if the scenario is, I can't make it a big crowd, I can't make it a cool gig, I can't necessarily make it a fun hang, maybe I get one of those, you're looking for two, but I can make it pay decently. So out of those four things, you've got to find a way for the guitar player to get two of them.
Yeah.
Because that's how we all operate.
Right.
So best of luck to you. I have a sneaking suspicion we'll get a follow-up and maybe additional information or just...
Yeah, love that. Love that.
As we were kind of going through this, Dan was like, can we get him? Like, can we get him on?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
I mean...
I'd love to have a live conversation about this. Even as much detail as you gave us, it's still kind of thrown over the transom, and we have to do our best with it. If there was a glaring like, oh yeah, I never have a conversation about expectations, cool. That would have been an easy conversation. This is harder. We're doing some speculating here.
This is like really hard. Like we sat for a second with this, and it's like, I mean, shoot, he feels like he's doing all the things.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but the giveaway though is, in spite of that, it's not working. So something's going on.
But sometimes we can like get a topic, and 15 minutes later we've got it. This has been at least like 5 days of you and I going back and forth, and me and Luke going back and forth. So yeah, we've really sat with this.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's a tough situation to be in, and it shows that Luke is one of us. He's a band leader. He's a guy who's trying to cast vision, and he knows which way the ship is going.
That's right. Yeah. So Luke, I hope this has been helpful. I hope it hasn't been too much of a pig pile. Hope it opens, some eyes.
Yeah. And if you've been in a scenario like this and you've got some tips or suggestions that we can pass along, let us know. Coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. Leave a comment on this video. Putting a band together is a never-ending process. A stable lineup is a house of cards.
Is a myth.
Yeah.
I was going to say, putting a band together, actually, I've done it several times. Keeping a band together, a whole other deal.
Yeah. Very, it is this very unique and strange social contract that really doesn't exist outside of this realm. Like, if you explained to an alien what a band is in the context of like being adults, like,
right.
people with jobs and mortgages, they'd be like, wait, so why does this work?
Yeah.
It's like, well, we all kind of just agreed that we would do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and somewhere it scratches some itch deep in us that we're unfulfilled without. Right. And that's kind of the thing. Like Luke's offer here doesn't really scratch any itches for anybody. And not the people he wants.
Right. And it's fixable. That's the good news.
Yeah.
It is fixable. We have provided multiple actionable items that could get you what you're looking for. We weren't able to put a candy coating on them, unfortunately.
That's all right.
Sometimes you just got to take the dadgum pill. You can't put it in a piece of cheese.
Yeah, nothing but pill sometimes.
So if you are into metal and you want to check this out, we'll put a link to Elk Hunter's Spotify so you can check them out for yourself. And listen, guys like us in cover bands, we're kind of fine with playing other people's stuff. And maybe we've got a gig that pays us well, but kind of want to get back into original music. And maybe a cover band guitar player is exactly what you're looking for. A guy who's satisfied financially, who just wants to, scratch an itch or get back into a particular realm of music that, they've put on the shelf for a little bit.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Who knows?
Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. This was a fun conversation. Like I said, we very rarely do we really get this far into something. And it was a fun nut to crack for sure.
Yeah.
So thanks again, Luke. And thanks for all of you. If you'd like to support the show, you can do it a number of ways, but I'll go ahead and call it for this week. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I am Dan Ray.
You have been listening to the Coverband Confidential podcast for the week of February 6th, 2026.